talking about the best virtual reality game ever. A hot new continent, Chronolife Another World, is opening up and available to players. A new character appears in a colorful virtual world, settling in a territory surrounded by nature. When first connecting to another world, an amazing experience awaits the player. The game has already gathered 100 million new users. Everyone is ready for adventure. Here you can meet the greatest companions and together conquer dungeons and defeat bosses. A new adventure awaits the player in this bright and lively world. The system reports the creation of a new character for the player. The surroundings resemble a clean green area with mountains and blue skies. A newfound character named King Jiseok appears on the field and has just started the game. The protagonist realizes that he is on a new continent, a different world. The hero looks around thoughtfully and is surprised by something. He notices that there is no one around and wonders where the other 100 million users are. He notices a strange object in his hands, a shovel, and is perplexed. The hero assumes he needs to dig and wonders why at least a wooden club wasn't issued. He starts digging the ground with his shovel, and suddenly the process looks very unusual. The hero is greatly surprised at what is happening to the land. Digging results in a huge earth cube flying out of the ground. The hero's surprise grows as the earth cube continues its movement. The hero watches the earth cube fall nearby, not realizing what's happening. He can't believe his eyes and begins to question whether he's in the right game. Nevertheless, he begins to carefully explore the possibilities of the shovel and interacts with the cube he found. After the next blow with the shovel, a puff of smoke rises. He is surprised to receive notification of a material extraction, a unit of land. Jiseok sees the inventory screen where the material actually ended up and is amazed at such mechanics. He ponders the possibilities of the game while looking over his inventory. He has an interesting thought. Maybe other objects can be collected in this way. Running towards the tree, he decides to test his hunch. Swinging around, he hits the tree trunk with force with the shovel. He now manages to get a unit of wood, which confirms his assumption. A message appears saying that a new item for crafting has become available. A menu appears on the screen asking you to craft a wooden chair using 1 unit of wood. The character marvels at the ease of the crafting process. You just have to click a button. Feeling disbelief, he decides to try this path after all. As a result, a bright glow flashes in the clearing, marking the creation of the item. A chair begins to form out of the light, under the hero's enthusiastic gaze. The game confirms successful crafting. The wooden chair is now complete. The hero sits down on the chair he just created and rejoices at how cool it is. For a while, he just sits there, but gradually boredom and loneliness sets in. The protagonist suddenly feels very lonely in this vast world. While in contemplation, the protagonist questions the nature of the game, whether he's sure it's really Chronolife, since the game was supposed to be a classic RPG. At this time, a message appears to increase the level of the crafting skill, unlocking access to new items. The hero lazily scrolls through the menu, trying to figure out what's available now. A crafting list opens up, offering various items like a chair, a club, and a wooden sword. The character realizes that the chair he made was created with a special crafting skill and begins to study other items. He is surprised to find that among the possible items to craft is a siege catapult, which requires a lot more resources. The hero notices something unusual on the list and prepares for a new discovery. He begins to construct something large, sets up the first unit, and wipes away the sweat, satisfied with his labor. At the end, he looks at the house he has built, rejoicing in his success. He thinks construction is really fun, and even if the interior is a little plain, the protagonist lies down on his wooden bed, which he assembled himself, deciding to test how comfortable it is. Lying on the bed, he feels cozy and relaxed. He feels even more comfortable here than in his real home. He realizes the reason for this feeling and agrees with himself. In the nighttime urban backdrop, you can see a plain old high-rise apartment building. That was his real home. There is no coziness in his real house. There are only simple foods and an electric appliance. In real life, he studied diligently and worked at a desk, surrounded by notes and doubts. In his new world, he is back on his own bed, content and relaxed. He considers his shovel, realizing it all belongs to him. In his imagination, he imagines that he can build luxurious homes, a large mansion, a 2-story house with a courtyard. He is excited about the opportunity to build and live in these homes himself. The hero is pleased. Getting to another world seems like an amazing experience for him. Suddenly, a huge monster bursts into the room, and Jiseok is shocked. On the doorstep stands Lion Bear, a very dangerous Class A monster snarling at the hero. Jiseok is terrified, trying to figure out what kind of monster is in front of him. The creature growls menacingly and prepares to attack. The bear demolishes the bed and the hero flees in panic. He's surprised. The monster stormed right inside the house. The creature smashes the hero's bed with its paw, destroying his labor. Jisok is angry at the monster for destroying the bed. Dragging the shovel through, he prepares to counterattack. He throws himself at the bear with a shovel with anger. He enters the battle determined to avenge his destroyed property. He threatens to destroy the bear the same way the bear destroyed his stuff. The hero hatefully calls the creature a cursed bear and rushes into battle. As a result of the fight, the bear throws the hero out of the house with a powerful blow. Jisok falls to the ground and dies. A notification appears that the character has died. A message appears. He will lose part of his experience for dying and will be revived in a safe zone. The hero reappears alive again, but saddened by his weakness. He discovers that his house has disappeared and starts looking for it. Soon he finds the ruins of his home and can't believe what has happened. Seeing the destruction, the hero cries out in despair, having lost everything. He mourns the house and worries that a bear has destroyed the result of his efforts. Memories of assembling the house bring him to tears and a longing for lost labor. Jisok wonders if he can regain his lost home. Full of determination, he vows that he will definitely take revenge on the bear. At this time, the lion bear, unaware of the hero's plans, walks off through the Sunset Valley and then notices the new house. The bear is annoyed. He finds another dwelling and prepares to attack. The monster rushes out with a roar to destroy another house. Jisok meets the bear at the entrance and notices it approaching. This time, the hero meets the enemy prepared. There is a huge catapult inside the house and the bear is confused. The hero clutches the hilt of his gun, preparing to fight back. The bear is stunned by the furious volley. It roars in pain. Blinded by the attack, the bear tries to counterattack in a rage. The bear makes a leap, showing his persistence, but Jisok is not afraid. He fires the siege catapult with confidence, launching a heavy boulder. The stone hits the bear. It takes serious damage. The hero laughs, satisfied that he was able to trap the enemy. He cautiously watches his defeated foe, unsure if he will revive again. After the monster's death, the hero receives trophies, meat, skin, and bones of the lion bear, marveling at his success. Jisok learns about the new items available to create. A helmet and armor made from the bones and hide of a lion bear, using collected materials from the beast. He realizes that if you defeat monsters, you can get materials from them, and now he has an overall picture of survival forming. The protagonist decides that he needs to go hunting for survival. Taking a shovel in his hands, he wonders about something going on around him. Suddenly, he finds himself surrounded by huge, dangerous monsters, and he doesn't realize when they appeared. He realizes he is surrounded by monsters and is amazed at the number of them. The hero thinks that so many enemies at once is no longer fair. One of the monsters launches an attack with a loud scream, and the protagonist rushes to run away in fright. Jisok dies, which the system reports clearly and dryly. The character has died. The hero dies once more, now for the 4th time. On the 12th time, he fights the monsters again, but is again defeated. In the 49th time, the hero dies and a fire rages around his house, destroying everything. After his 108th death already, he stands amidst the ruined remains of his home and begins to reflect. Jisok realizes he can understand monsters when they try to destroy him. He can't stop thinking, why destroy his home? Every time he has to build a house from scratch because the monsters destroy everything. He wonders if the monsters are doing this intentionally. The irritation of this situation is building up inside him. The hero clutches his shovel and inwardly prepares himself not to give up. He declares to himself that he will not give up under any circumstances. He will surely find a way out of this situation. With a shout and determination, he throws himself into a new attempt to defeat the monsters. The hero is confident. Even if he is killed again, he will be reborn again and try again. For the 999th time, he reappears on the battlefield, ready to face the monsters. All monsters gather in a new wave and go on the offensive against the hero's fortifications. They approach the huge castle that Jisok had built. A question sounds from the top of the tower that the monsters came this way. The hero observes the scene from the fortress and wonders who and how many have come. Sitting on his throne, he asks that the main monster be brought to him, promising mercy to all others. At this moment, a flying monster appears and shouts loudly. It kept flying and screaming at the top of its voice. But suddenly the creature is struck by a bright energy projectile. The hero reminds the monsters that he himself warned them not to attack and blames them for being the first to start a new confrontation. On top of that, he doesn't understand why the monsters are slow and don't enter the battle. He wonders, aren't they here to defeat him? The hero begins to suspect that the monsters have developed other feelings. He teases them, seeing the fear in their eyes. The angry monsters do go on the offensive with more screams. In response, powerful lasers start hitting his opponents from the hero's fortifications. The battlefield is covered in fire and flashes, destroying a number of attackers. The protagonist sarcastically comments on the monster's attempts to break his fortification. He encourages them, saying they are trying, but it could have been better, though the monsters die in the fire. His fortress is blazing, but he remains confident of success and taunts his enemies. A pink creature appears in the midst of the fire, screaming fearfully. It runs and keeps calling for help, panicking as it flees from the threat. Suddenly, a giant, monstrous monster appears and addresses its enemies with contempt. It turns out that they are facing a boss monster from another world named Gran Turis, whose danger level is labeled Goat. The pink creature is frightened to meet the boss and calls out to the others. Granthuris stomps across the battlefield, crushing everyone in his path. The hero meets the boss face to face and makes it clear that he's ready to stop him for good. Granthuris ridicules the hero, claiming that any efforts he makes are in vain. He claims that no amount of massive construction will stop him. Nothing can resist its most powerful attack, the breath of destruction. The monster strikes its enemies with a powerful fire attack, destroying everything in its path. Chisak is surprised when his enemy doesn't perceive his size as a threat. He doesn't understand why even sheer size doesn't make sense in front of an opponent. It is explained that the reason is that the enemy has not yet encountered something so large. A mechanism rises from the ground, blocking the road. A gigantic mountain of earth and stone grows in front of the crocodile, far exceeding its size. The crocodile is dumbfounded. He realizes the superiority of his opponent's size. The golem was so gigantic that it caused the crocodile to marvel. Crocodile realizes just how huge the new threat is. The golem launches a crushing attack, causing dust and destruction. The impact on the ground creates large cracks and destruction throughout the area. The wave of energy reaches the sky, leaving traces visible from afar. After such a powerful blow, all that was left was dust. And then we see that all that's left of the old crocodile is a pile of bodies. The hero stands on the giant's arm, looking confidently forward. In front of the body of the defeated crocodile, the hero pronounces its name, Granthuris. The hero announces his victory over Granthuris. Jisak uses a shovel to turn the defeated titan into materials. He is credited with various trophies: skins, claws, heart, powder, and Granthuris blood. The hero receives a title, and his fame begins to spread to another world. He wonders if it's all over already. The system reports that the ruler of the world has been replaced by a new one, King Jisak, and no one else will dare to challenge him. The hero realizes that this is just the beginning of a new era for him in another world. A privilege is unlocked, complete control of everything in another world. He declares his absolute power with a triumphant smile. In another part of the world, they learn of Lord Granthuris' defeat and cannot believe what is happening. Even the system confirmed that the ruler had changed. The commanders of Granthuris' army are shocked that their invincible lord has fallen. An emergency military meeting begins. Someone suggests that we check the veracity of events. The leader demands immediate preparations for war to avenge the death of Granthuris. Another warlord calls for all forces to be mobilized for revenge. There is a dispute between commanders as to when exactly to go on the offensive. At this point, they are interrupted by a strange vibration that catches their attention. Everyone realizes that the vibration is coming from Lord Granthuris' footsteps. They see a familiar figure and rejoice, believing Granthuris to be alive and unharmed. One of the legionnaires demands to go for revenge, but another thinks that Granthuris himself will figure it out. As they stare at him, a certain commander starts making accusations. The topic of who committed the atrocities, the incessant killing and torture, is brought up. The hero in anger blames the creatures for destroying everything he built. Blinded by rage, he speaks of just retribution. The other creatures are horrified when they see his true power. One of the monsters is trying to negotiate, but the hero doesn't want to listen and tells you to be quiet. The hero uses his most powerful mecha beam, destroying the resistance. Later in the night, the hero continues his work, using a shovel to extract minerals. He is approached by the 7th commander of the Granthuris Legion, Doro, who expresses his loyalty to his new master. The hero notices that Doro has shrunk in size and asks how he survived. Doro explains that he is able to regenerate even from a small body part, but is getting weaker and smaller. The hero sarcastically remarks that it won't be hard to kill Doro now, and he begs to be spared. The hero notes the rich mineral deposits and is about to question the commander. The hero asks why they kept trying to kill him. Doro excuses himself, but the hero demands an explanation. The first attempt to justify himself ends. The hero does not demand an apology, but an answer to his question. One day, the creator visited Granthuris, ruler of another world, and told him a revelation. The creator ordered the elimination of King Jisok and then disappeared. Jisok wondered why he was chosen, since he considers himself an ordinary user. He doesn't understand why they would fight him. Granthuris ponders whether a bee from the hive can understand the beekeeper's thoughts and begins to giggle as Jisok interrupts him threateningly. Jisok asks if there is any way to meet this creator, to which Granthuris replies that he doesn't know. Granthuris turns to his master with a question. He wonders what exactly Jisok is doing, to which he replies that he is building a tower. Granthuris asks why the tower specifically. Jisok hints that he wants to do something important. Jisok admits that he wants to be up there at least once, pointing upwards. Turns out his target is the moon. Granthuris is shocked that he's going to go to the moon, and Jisok thinks the idea is hilarious. Granthuris tries to explain the impossibility of flying to the moon due to a multitude of physical factors, but Jisok doesn't care. In Jisok's opinion, it's worth going to the moon just because it's there, because that's what romance is. He's sure that since it's a game, it'll work out somehow. Granthuris thinks Jisok is a complete idiot and becomes desperate. He decides he has no choice and will comply. A plan appears in his mind. Pretend to be an assistant so that he can eliminate Jisok at the perfect opportunity. Morning arrives, construction continues, and the team works on the tower. The work comes under different climates and conditions. They build and plan together. It takes a long time to build. Days succeed each other, challenges arise, but the team doesn't give up. They even build at night and fight off enemies, including a huge dragon. The tower grows ever taller, striking in its appearance. Eventually, it reaches the edge of the atmosphere and escapes into space. Travelers bundle up in warm clothing, fighting the cold of space. Suddenly, a portal appears through which a mysterious creature watches them. The creature is surprised by their venture, but finds what is happening interesting. Determined not to let Jisok disappoint, it decides to add a new challenge. The creature writes the name of Granthuris and 2 monsters on the challenge list. A mysterious foot treads past, hinting at the arrival of a new challenge. Meanwhile, the heroes reach the moon, change into spacesuits, and walk out on the lunar walkway. Jisok puts his foot on the surface of the moon for the first time and can't contain his emotions. Granthuris is ecstatic at their arrival, being in shock at their success. Doro enthusiastically states that they actually succeeded. The view of the Earth from the moon causes them to marvel. Both recognize that the scenery is incredibly beautiful and admire the view. Doro admits he's never seen anything like it and is amazed at the beauty of the moment. He thanks Jisok for this adventure, and the latter is embarrassed but accepts the thanks. Determined not to delay, the heroes return to collecting lunar materials. Suddenly, something strange appears on the moon, and both are alarmed. A huge evil rabbit appears in front of them and threatens them for trespassing. Both are frightened as the enemy encountered is very dangerous, as confirmed by the high threat level. Rabbit rushes in to attack, but is immediately knocked out by a mechanical arm. The threat is quickly neutralized. The allies' mechanical tail flattens the enemy. Travelers pretend that nothing happened so as not to attract attention. The injured rabbit continues to threaten despite being seriously injured. In pain and anger, the rabbit lets out a piercing scream. The scream is so loud that it causes both characters to become alarmed. They realize that things are bad. The ground begins to shake, and the heroes suspect more enemies are about to appear. Their fears are confirmed. A whole army of angry moon rabbits appears. Surrounded on all sides, the heroes face a dangerous new challenge on the moon. The protagonist finds himself surrounded by numerous rabbit enemies and sees the situation getting worse. Doro realizes that they weren't prepared for a massive battle and begins to think that this could be the end. However, Jisok notices that the rabbits are only attacking him and not paying attention to Doro. His partner decides to take the opportunity to escape and return to his planet. Doro looks at the distant Earth, reminiscing about her planet. He recalls how they both marveled at the beauty of the Earth and feel grateful for the opportunity to see this sight. The partner is inwardly thankful to be shown the Earth, and this picture is reflected in his gaze. The protagonist engages in a battle with a mob of rabbits, noting that there are too many of them. He hopes to find a moment when he can attack or break free. Suddenly, the hero's companion attacks one of the rabbits with a laser, surprising Jisok. The hero admits that his partner turned out to be capable of fighting, and the latter replies that he's been hiding it all along. Jisok says he thought his partner was running away, but he decided to help in gratitude for the beauty he was shown. The companion assures that he will not abandon the hero and is ready to fight at his side. Jisok reacts enthusiastically to his companion's help and orders the destruction of all enemies. His companion suddenly admits that he likes the hero, which surprises him. At this point, Jisok appears already in his armored suit and confirms that Doro has passed the test involving romance. Information about the collected resources appears: lunar soil, lunar dust, and lunar ore. The hero convinces the other rabbits not to give up and offers to return home alive. He suddenly unleashes his huge wing weapons, stunning the rabbits. Jisok declares that the enemies must become his materials and prepares a powerful attack. After the victory, they celebrate the success by toasting to the view of Earth in the background. The hero and his companion are resting after a hard fight and discussing how difficult it was. Doro asks why Jisok carved his name on the moon. He says it's to mark the territory. The partner is surprised by this approach to the game. The hero replies that he does it for fun. Jisok explains that he enjoys this kind of hardship. The partner doesn't understand the hero's motives, but agrees to leave him alone. A powerful purple energy stream suddenly appeared in the sky, striking both of them. The hero watches in amazement and tries to understand what this phenomenon is. He feels malaise from this energy and tries to figure out what's going on. They notice that a huge chunk of another planet is separating from Earth. Doro realizes that another planet has collided with their home world. Jisok tells his companion to stay and goes to find out what happened. The partner doesn't understand how he can be alone while the hero flies away. As the hero walks away across the bridge to the planet, his partner blames him for abandoning him and worries. Doro is horrified as he tries to realize who is capable of destroying an entire planet. Meanwhile, the hero flies with determination to the destroyed planet, wanting to find out who is to blame. Jisok makes himself a promise of revenge if anyone harms his creation. He lands at the point of destruction, ready for action. Jisok tries to contact his ally Granturus, but there is no response. The hero realizes that the connection isn't catching and surveys the area, which is engulfed in fire and chaos. Suddenly, he notices someone on the edge of the crater and runs to him to find out what happened. He finds the huge defeated mechanical dragon Granturus lying in flames and freezes in shock. The hero's view becomes detached from what has happened. At that moment, someone calls out to their boss saying that there is a survivor here. The hero turns around at the voice with surprise. The stranger notes that the hero has a strange weapon, a shovel, which causes ridicule. They make jokes about his shovel, thinking he's a weirdo. The hero clutches the shovel tightly, preparing to act. His opponent points out that with a stick, it is better not to say such words. The hero is surprised by such logic. A mysterious half-naked enemy with a wooden staff and companion appears and addresses the hero, asking who he is. In the world of Chrono Life, the strongest player is called Piss. His weapon is a Plusner 99 reinforced wooden stick. A hero with a shovel and wearing pajamas confronts Piz and asks who he is. Piz notes that the hero is clearly angry and offers to sort it out if there's a problem. The heroes prepare for battle, their auras colliding with each other. The two rivals stand face to face, ready to begin the battle. Piz introduces himself as Chrono Life's strongest user and shows off his weapon, the Plus 99 stick. He announces his name with confidence, Piz. The little dragon notes that the hero doesn't recognize Piz, calling him a true newcomer, but Jisok demands silence. The hero comes to the conclusion that Piss is to blame for everything after seeing the destroyed mechanical beast Granturus. Memories bring the hero back to the tower he built with great difficulty. He wanted to build a tower all the way to the moon. Jisok accuses Piz of destroying everything he created. Jisok calls Piz a stupid perv in his underpants, which surprises both Piz and Eurus. The hero with the shovel asks Piz if he's ready for battle. Both chuckle at the underwear situation. Piz recognizes that he still has room to grow and improve and takes things lightly. He stomps his foot forcefully, noting that if someone doesn't know something, let them pay for it. Piz attacks with a mad grin with a wooden stick, threatening retribution. He attacks with a shout and the hero is lost and surprised. The powerful attack went past Jisok, ripping out a huge path, and he looks at his stick in surprise. The hero in armor notices that the situation is dangerous. His left leg is damaged. Acceleration is impossible. Piz notices that Jisok is very fast, and our hero calls that one a bastard. The hero raises his arms. Missiles and shells multiply around him. He prepares for a powerful attack. The hero's next move is the moon rocket, projectiles rushing towards the enemy against the backdrop of the full moon. Piz scoffs at this. He finds it amusing. He is about to show his own technique. His body is surrounded by purple energy. He lands a powerful uppercut punch, knocking his opponent up top. A hero in armor screams for an emergency evacuation, startled by the impact. Jisok flies through the air after a powerful punch. The character summons a new creature by summoning a lock. A giant king's castle emerges, ready for battle. Peas is amazed at what's going on. The hero orders his castle to attack. A massive attack begins, and the clearing is engulfed in explosions and destruction. Urus watches the destruction around him in horror. Somewhere in space, Doro is lost in what is happening and doesn't understand what happened. Doro is concerned about his master's condition. The royal castle rises majestically against the backdrop of the sunset. Peas is holding something heavy with one hand and can't believe what has happened. The hero is surprised that he was able to block the attack with a wooden stick, and Peas declares that it's his turn. Peas lunges in with a counterpunch, attacking from the top. He makes a leap to smash the player's lock. The protagonist panics as he realizes the danger. Peas lands a swift and devastating strike from the top. The opponent keeps a close eye on Piss, noticing his abilities through a special gaze. The hero fills his shovel with blue energy, pulling out a huge block. The call for blocks begins. Tens, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands. The hero uses the call of a million blocks technique to counter an opponent's attack. Both opponents fight in front of flying blocks, experiencing intense pain from the collision. Both are surprised and amazed at each other's strength. Wondering who their opponent really is, the hero bursts into battle, preparing to finish everything he started. He promptly falls downward, destroying everything around him. His opponent is shocked. The enemy screams in anger and pain, blaming the hero. A fierce battle ensues, their weapons clash. The hero's shovel easily deflects the opponent's blow. As a result of the powerful impact, an explosion of colossal force occurs. A powerful beam rushes into space and slices the planet in half. The planet appears split open and silence hangs in space. A small creature named Urus flies to the hero, asking about what happened. Urus is amazed at the destruction. The hero jokes that the world should have been stronger. The hero looks suspiciously at the shovel and notices that it is covered in an unusual blue glow. The hero is surprised. His opponent is still alive and clutching a glowing shovel. Jisok stands breathing heavily and holding the magic shovel with his last strength. He challenges Peas to a fight, insulting him. But soon our hero faints and falls, and Peas watches from a distance. Urus shares a hunch that this shovel is suspicious. Piss confirms it. He ponders who one must be to wield such a weapon. Peas wondered who this strange guy was. Suddenly, a dimensional rift opens and an unknown person appears. The new stranger presents himself as the hero's enemy. That was our favorite Choya Dokbe, the director of Chrono Life. The owner of the company is angry at Peas for destroying yet another planet. Peas is surprised to see Grandpa and asks what he's doing here. A mysterious woman rushes toward the hero, screaming at him. A woman tries to wake up the protagonist, and Peas mistakenly thinks she's the principal's granddaughter. The woman wakes up the hero Jisok, but he is semi-conscious. She advises him to be more persistent. She's sorry, regrets that the hero is constantly being attacked by monsters. She admits that she tried for the sake of making him stronger. As it turns out, Uria was the lead developer who was actually killing it all along for the sake of pumping it up. The hero is shocked by her words, admits he is in pain. He passes out again, she notices it. Uria announces that Jisok has lost consciousness. She kisses the hero as he lies senseless. Oh, that sweet kiss when the world is falling apart. Yeah, and let the world wait. The girl says goodbye to the hero, wishing him a peaceful sleep. In parting, she speaks fondly to the hero, calling him her dear user. After a while, Doro tries to wake up the protagonist by calling him master. The hero is half asleep, but he hears someone demanding to wake up. He gets up and curses at being painfully awakened, and the creature recoils resentfully. The hero complains of a headache and suddenly opens his eyes wide with surprise. He sees the destruction of the planet and is amazed at what is happening. The hero is shocked. In front of him, the planet is split in two again, as in the past world. However, he is surprised to notice that one world is still intact. Jisok meets his creature, who embraces him, happy that the master is fine. Doro excuses himself that he was only worried about staying in space. The hero reacts with understanding. The hero, upon seeing the spaceship King Jiseok, realizes he has returned to the moon. They ask him how he's feeling. He says he's fine. Jisok is surprised, as he was supposed to be badly injured after fighting Piss. He wonders why he feels completely normal and recalls the events of the recent fight. He tells Doro that he was unconscious and does not know what happened. He asks Doro to explain the events as he himself does not understand what happened. Doro begins the story remembering what happened a moment ago. Doro told how he saw something crazy. He caught the moment when the planet split in two and it scared him. And then a mysterious girl appeared, holding Jisok in her arms. Seeing Jisoka, Doro called out for his master to wake up. The woman reassures Doro, assuring her that the hero is fine. He's just fainted. She explains that she used a powerful healing spell on him through a kiss. Doro is surprised by the woman's actions, not realizing what has happened to him. He asks if she's to blame for all the recent events with the Master and the other world. The woman, radiating light, recognizes that she is the creator. She praises Doro for her cleverness, but says that she did not cause the chaos that occurred. Doro wonders who was responsible. The woman points out that the universe discord was caused by the wielder of the Plus 999 enhanced wooden stick. Turns out Peas came from the main Chrono Life server. He is presented as the strongest user in the universe. The story goes that the other world protected new users from those like him with a system barrier. The barrier prevented players from the main server from entering the new world. But that barrier was destroyed by the very weapon, the stick. Piss with a wooden stick shattered the world's defenses. Now that he has returned to his world, the world should be at peace again. The creator warns that the calm will not last long because the threat will soon return. She asks Doro to tell everything to the hero when he comes to his senses. Turning to a hero named Jisok, she says she hopes for him. She uses her magic to rebuild the planet. The restoration of the world impresses Doro because it's not every day you see something like this. But the recovery is accompanied by an explosion that startles Doro. After a powerful flash, the heroes once again find themselves alive and intact. Doro is surprised. Now the planet is whole again, and he reports it. He then notices the Maker's disappearance, calls out to her, but there is no answer. Back to reality, Doro retells everything that happened to the hero. Jisok admits defeat and says he was overconfident. He realizes that the title of Lord has misled him, making him vulnerable. He gets frustrated that he couldn't protect anyone again and thinks he's pathetic. Doro tries to comfort him, saying that the hero was still able to survive against the strongest. The hero is amazed that he was only able to fight back with a regular shovel, and thinks about it. Looking at the shovel, he wonders how his shovel was able to withstand the impact of the strongest weapon. Plus, it shattered their world. Jisok asks Doro if he knows who created this shovel. Doro admits she doesn't know, but suggests asking the experts. The mineral experts have always been the dwarves who live in the Nelwyn mine. Doro tells us that dwarves not only mine ore, but also craft things. Jisok decides to go to the dwarves right away and grabs Doro with him. Doro admits he doesn't know where the mine is, but the hero isn't worried. He has crafting skills. The hero uses special tools to find the mine from the air. Both go in search of the mine, taking to the skies. And at the same time, Jisok vows to avenge the destroyed house by accusing Piss with a wooden stick. So he also blames the female creator and plots revenge. At the end, Jisok decides that he will definitely get revenge on them. You just have to wait a little while. In another world called Dark Highlands, everything is shrouded in a dark shadow. A group of skeletons run to attack the hero team. One of the heroes fights enemies using powerful magic and lightning-fast strikes. A character named Joachim notes that there are quite a few enemies. He has level 49 and the class Warrior. The heroine powerfully attacks the skeleton, easily shattering the skull. She says that the enemies are too weak, but her comrade points out that it's because she herself is very strong. Her name is Peach Shield and her level is 42. One of the friends jokes that the fierce attacks make it hard to tell who the real monster is. Grace, the mage, level 45, fights again, while Foxtor, thief level 41, dodges. Joachim easily defeats another skeleton, but he gets bored because the complexity of the game is designed for beginners. He reflects that if the monsters were stronger, the new players wouldn't have joined. It's just that their team developed faster than the developers expected. Shield Girl criticizes the inept management of the game. Recently, the server even crashed. Foxter, on the other hand, is still having fun. He suggests that their team is the strongest on the server, but Joachim notes that this is overconfident. Joachim notices that Grace looks pensive and asks if everything is okay. Grace, standing among the skeletal remains, calls out to Joachim. They stare in amazement at something that has appeared in the sky. Joachim says he can't see the object, but he notices that it is descending lower and lower. The team assumes this is a new, never-before-seen monster and consider themselves quite unsuccessful first opponents of it. Everyone prepares to fight the unusual creature, dreaming of the reward for the first kill. Meanwhile, Jisok and Doro search for the dwarves with a helicopter, but only get to the skeleton's lair. The metal helicopter looks like a dinosaur's head. It's said to be all about romance, though the hero is upset that it's come to this. The hero is pleased to have been able to recover the head of this creature, Grand Taurus, but the latter is clearly unhappy with his situation. Spotting other users from the window, the hero wonders what's going on. They see that team fighting on the battlefield at the foot of the mountains. Suddenly, the field lights up with a bright flash, much to the surprise of our heroes. Our helicopter takes a powerful hit from the hero team and begins to go down. The heroes decide not to stop and continue the attack using special skills. Peach uses his weapon. The attack comes down on the enemy. However, only small projectiles fly at the mechanical monster, which do not cause much damage. The hero marvels at the weakness of their opponents, concluding that they are probably rookie players. He compares the current fight to past fights, feeling the difference in level. In front of the windows, the companions discuss whether to let the enemies escape, but conclude that it is impossible. The protagonist decides that since they were hit first, they need revenge. He orders Grand Taurus to prepare an attack against the team of players. The hero commands, the enemy must be swept away, and his mechanical ally is ready to fulfill it. The dragon-shaped helicopter soars into the sky, and Joachim and his comrades don't realize what's happening. Grand Taurus unleashes a powerful charge, and Joachim is shocked by what he sees. An intimidating beam descends upon the enemies. Mecha beam! Fire covers the battlefield, and the heroes panic as they try to escape the devastating attack. Joachim screams in fear and tries to dodge the attack. One of the team's allies does not believe what is happening, believing it to be impossible. Joachim is covered in terror as he realizes the strength of the enemy. The fire covers the entire field, and the mecha helicopter hovers over the scorched area. Joachim, trembling with surprise and terror, sits on the scorched earth, marveling at the strength of the enemy. In the room, the two friends watch the results, and Doro advises them to use the Mecha beam until the enemy is finally defeated. A second attack begins. Mecha fires a series of powerful beams. The heroes are trying to escape when a fiery explosion once again covers the battlefield. After enemies are destroyed, only ruins and bodies remain on the field. The hero and his partner decide to resurrect the skeletons to get directions. They enthusiastically agree to try such a plan. The hero activates the ability and touches the skeleton skull with a shovel to create materials. As a result, the hero gets skeleton bones and unlocks a new ability called Bone Maker, which surprises him. To activate the ability, you must avenge the skeletons. It becomes possible to create powerful skeletons depending on the combination you choose. The protagonist, along with Doro, discovers a new Bone Maker ability among the bones. The hero notices that there are plenty of materials around and decides to use his new ability, though his companion is alarmed. The hero completes the creation process and rejoices in the success. A skeleton dog is born, described as very curious and loving cuddles. The hero names the dog Byunji and admires its cuteness, but his companion feels strange in such a situation. The companion advises against playing around and doing the process in earnest, but the hero admits he enjoys it. Suddenly, a special event occurs that surprises the hero. It turns out that if you create 100 unique skeletons, a rare specimen is sure to appear. The hero is pleased with his plan, but the companion is tired of his enthusiasm. The hero turns on a special event with crafting. He is overwhelmed with excitement. As a result of the event, the skeletons rise with incredible force, which terrifies everyone present. An imposing figure appears among the skeletons and calls the hero his master. A new skeleton with a crown greets the hero and announces his birth. The plaque says that this is the Lich King, the legendary undead king with the highest level of danger. The new skeleton asks for a name, recognizing the protagonist as its lord. Doro warns Jisoka that the Lich King is the most insidious and evil monster. The Lich King is famous for never submitting to anyone. Despite his misgivings, the hero makes a decision. He gives Lich the name Pygaduk, though the companion is perplexed as to whether now is the right time for such questions. The Lich King thanks for the name, and the hero thinks he'll be fine since he seems docile. The hero asks Pygaduk if he knows where Nelwyn's mine is. Not expecting to get an answer, he is surprised when he answers in the affirmative. The companion is amazed that Lich knows the way, and the hero asks him to guide them there immediately. The Lich King looks pleased and agrees to follow his master's command, but then why are you holding a dagger behind your back? The undead. The flashback shows how various beasts and monsters had gathered at the pond shortly before. Remember when the stick and the shovel got into a fight? Soon after, there was a bright burst of light that startled all the beasts. The shockwave went further and eventually split the planet in two. Light reaches and transcends the planet, streaming out into space. Still, peace was restored and the people felt only a headache. One of the knights in the city was stunned by what was happening. Shows a silhouette of a man sitting on top of a cliff against a sunset background among the mountains. Mysterious images of a man in the water and his face illuminated by light appear. Someone in the shadows sits on a throne. And now we realize that there are those in this world who covet the position of ruler of another world. Some call the new host a very spectacular man. Many who saw the inscription on the moon will now remember these words. It is reported that this day is now the day of the appearance of the king. The protagonist, along with Lich and a companion, travels to the Nelwyn mine. Jisok reminds him that there's something to do before that and turns to Pigyoduk. He orders Pigyoduk not to hide anymore. Lich and Doro are confused. Jisok checks with the skeleton to see if he's going to run away for nothing. According to Lich, he still has things to do. Specifically, the uncompleted mission on the Dark Highlands. The hero announces the start of the job, and Lich is intrigued and asks what he means. The gaze of the hero and Lich becomes intense. Both are determined. Lich appears in construction clothing, emphasizing the importance of safety in construction. The hero inspires everyone to build the safest housing together by joining forces. He explains that their goal is to build a fortress tower surrounded by many weapons for defense. Together they proclaim that they will take care of their own safety, making the slogan, "Safety First," their motto. The construction went on as usual. They're about to build a huge building, and Jisok even took a typical picture of your father. And now, the moment of truth had arrived, the dagger began to spin. But no, not to kill our hero, but to cut the ribbon, because their dark tower is officially complete. The new tall, dark skyscraper with a skull on the facade is lit up with lights. Everyone rejoices at the completed building and congratulates each other on a job well done. Jisok suggests a final safety test to make sure everything goes perfectly. His friend protests against taking the test again. An invasion announcement appears. One of the heroes with a placard poses as an enemy and claims to have spotted an intruder. The fake invader wreaks havoc outside the building by feigning an attack, and after the test, receives approval that the test was passed successfully. The protagonist declares that he can now leave with a clear conscience. All the skeletons and small creatures cheerfully applaud. It instructs how to act in case of real danger. In case of an unforeseen threat, you have to give a laser signal and run away to get help. The protagonist says goodbye to the cute dog and entrusts him to look after the house while he's away. The heroes set off on a motorcycle on a new expedition. Their goal is in the Nelwyn mine. They say goodbye to the others. They wave goodbye to the skeletons before departing, then drive off towards the sunset. During the ride, it is discussed that Jisok didn't take the Grand Touries. The hero explains that he is too slow. Lich, in turn, realizes that they have stayed in the same place for too long. Doro says that actually they weren't planning on sticking around. But Jisoku still had fun, for there were many adventures and new friends. The skeleton, however, laughs and confirms the hero's words. He hopes the new journey will be interesting as well. In the evening, the heroes rest by the fire, and in the morning they set off through the picturesque fields to the new place. The travelers finally arrive at the mountain mine. Their path leads inside. Inside the mine, a red light glows, and the heroes realize they've reached their goal. It's the very same Nelwyn mine. They are surprised at the absence of the dwarves, for they have not heard from them for a long time. According to their memories, the dwarves had not left the mine for a long time. From a certain point on, all dwarves who entered the mine stopped coming back. None of the people who went to find out what happened ever came back. This scares Doro, who wonders why he is only being informed of this now. The answer is that he just didn't ask. Jisok asks if it's worth going any further, as the danger is clearly great, but the team decides to continue on their way. Suddenly, fiery projectiles fly from the summit. Doro reflects the arrow with her ass, and Lich grabs it with his hands. The enemies turn out to be stupefied dwarves with burning eyes, much to the surprise of the heroes. Jisok asks Lich not to kill his opponents to figure out what's going on. A furious battle ensues, with Lich knocking out his foes. The protagonist is shocked to realize that they were attacked by real dwarves. He wonders, have dwarves always been so dangerous? The answer is that this is the first time it has happened to them. After defeating one of the dwarves, the heroes try to bring him to his senses and find out why he attacked first. The waking dwarf warns them to run, for it is dangerous here. He explains that all the dwarves in the mine have gone mad and become violent. Anyone who enters the mine immediately falls under their wrath. The entire mine turns out to be filled with feral, aggressive dwarves. The heroes find themselves surrounded by a huge mob of distraught dwarves and realize how dangerous their situation is. The dwarf explains that he only regained consciousness after a severe shock. The protagonist smiles slyly, hinting at his plan of action. He proposes an unusual solution: mass physical therapy to give the dwarves their minds back. The hero challenges the aggressive dwarves to a fight and prepares for battle. A horde of rampaging dwarves rush to attack, and a team of heroes meet them in battle. Lich uses a powerful magic missile spell to stop the attackers. The Doro also join the fray, biting the distraught dwarves. The hero himself delivers a powerful robot punch, hitting multiple enemies at once. Jisok fights and marvels at the fighting abilities of his comrades. However, he does not forget to warn those around him to be on guard at all times, although he himself does not look around. But as it turned out, Jisok saw him and immediately attacked the evil dwarf. He is surprised at the unexpected development and looks toward Lich. Jisok was unhappy that Lich had helped him, since he could have handled it on his own. Two miners are afraid of the noise made by the heroes. They fear that such actions will bring trouble. One of the miners gets scared and yells that the noise will cause the monster to wake up. They notice a huge demonic paw that suddenly attacks. Everyone is terrified. An ominous roar is heard in the cave, waking up a huge monster with several eyes. The heroes panic and ask what the creature is. A huge fire-breathing dragon launches an attack on the heroes. Everyone is startled by its appearance. A description appears. In front of them, a zombie dragon that has risen due to a curse is an SSS-class boss that lives only for revenge. The monster attacks and Jisoku manages to barely escape while the others scream in terror. The hero complains that the dragon is only after him, while the rest of us are glad not to be a target. The hero is forced to run away from a zombie dragon that chases him while screaming. In desperation, the hero activates magic with a shovel to confront the monster. At the call, the blue spirit, the great beast, our mechanical bombardier crocodile, appears. A battle begins between the crocodile and the dragon. Both let out terrifying screams. The heroes are delighted that they now have a powerful ally, a spirit named Granthurus. The battle between the two monsters begins. The crocodile and the dragon circle around each other, trying to overpower each other. The two monsters collide, causing dizziness to those around them. The heroes are gripped by fear. They cannot move. Doro begs for a new body. Jisok, on the other hand, is desperate not to know how to create something that doesn't exist. The hero suddenly realizes that he can use his artifact to do just that. He calls for the creation of a new body to the creature. Using the power, the hero creates a legendary rarity. He's making a bone monster. A creature named Skull Granterus appears. Danger level goat. It faces the dragon. The dragon screams with rage, preparing for another attack. The dragon collides with the bone monster and is hit hard. The dragon is badly wounded, bleeding, weakening. The bone creature tosses the opponent high up, preparing the final blow. The hero orders his creature to finish off the enemy. Skull Granterus prepares a powerful attack, stores energy for a powerful strike. The creature releases a huge beam, destroying the enemy. A bright flash illuminates the cave. The battle is over. Heroes and miners watch on, marveling at the victory. On the surface, it becomes apparent that a huge beam is coming from the crater. It is the result of an attack. The new man wonders what it is. The white-haired man asks his master what they should do now, but he only holds out some piece of paper. The one clutching the paper is just as interested in what they can do. A man with an eye patch throws out the contract, saying it is now invalid, which shocks the companion. It was Lone Shark, nicknamed the Heart Heater. He explained that they need to meet with the people who did all this. Back inside the huge volcano, the miners are jubilant that the crocodile was able to defeat their enemy. They looked closely at the eye and came to the same conclusion. The dwarves were humiliated that such a monster ruled them. Jisok asks his companion if he has managed to find anything of value. There is no answer. Still, Doro is surprised. He doesn't recognize the defeated monster. It is noted that no one has ever met such a monster before, which of course surprises Jisok and Leech. Miners tell that this monster suddenly appeared in the mine one day, and no one else knew of its origin. A mine guardian named Kim thanks the heroes for the rescue. The protagonist is introduced to Kim, the one in charge of the place. The hero informs him that he is the king of Jisok. Jisok says he has a question for the dwarf. Kim offers to ask anything since the hero saved them. The hero shows Kim the shovel and wonders about its origin. Kim examines the shovel and shows unexpected interest. Kim is surprised and amazed to see the unusual shovel. He picks up on all those beautiful curves. But no, he doesn't have any ideas about that shovel. Kim, clutching the shovel, admits that he can't figure out what mineral it's made of. He marvels that he has encountered an unknown mineral and finds it very fascinating. He then bids farewell to the characters and leaves with his colleague. The hero attacks Kim, demanding he give him the shovel, but is stopped. A multitude of dwarves watch as the hero with his newfound shovel digs up a shiny cube. He solemnly shows the shovel to everyone else and encourages them to watch. The hero demonstrates that he can create such tools and asks who knows what the mineral is. A crowd of workers marvel at the man-made wonder they see. The older dwarf notes that this is really cool and asks for a shovel, but the hero refuses to give it to him. Even the skeleton mage notices that even the dwarves don't know the answer and asks what the hero is going to do next. The hero decides to find out where in this world is the best place to find information. The companion informs us that the starting square is the best place to gather information, as that is where the players start the game. The hero is surprised by the answer and interjects about the starting area. He recalls that he himself did not start out in this square. Shown is a view of the starting area itself, where all the newcomers flock to. In the square, the other characters are discussing whether the player they need has already arrived, and someone explains that he must first complete his tasks. In a crowd, someone notices something unusual and draws the attention of others. On stage, a warrior tells about a very dangerous monster that looks like a dinosaur head, shoots rays and flies. The heroes explain to the audience that the monster is very powerful and could destroy the entire world. The captain urges everyone to band together to fight this monster. A significant portion of users discuss that even the party of the famous hero is asking for help, which emphasizes the power of the monster. One of the characters is surprised at how enthusiastic everyone is, but suddenly notices something. The captain reappears on the stage and is asked if he is sure of his words. He confirms that he is sure. A mysterious dark character appears and says, "This is all going to be interesting." Then footsteps are heard around. The crowd is surprised to notice the appearance of a large number of soldiers. One recognizes the distinctive pattern on the armor and assumes it is the Royal Guard. A flag with the guard symbol is shown, and the idea that this is the Divine Guild is sounded. Then knights in red cloaks with a white cross enter the square, eliciting surprised reactions from the townspeople. Some call them Crossline, an elite guild of holy knights. The other group, the Banner Mages, is the strongest magic guild of the Holy Lands. The Guild of Righteous Thieves Hwalbinden enters under their banner and laughing. An unknown character solemnly walks into the square between the ranks of the knights of the strongest guild. This guild is introduced as the Guild of Justice, one of the 5 main guilds. It is emphasized that these 5 guilds together constitute Alliance of World Guilds, Otherworld Chapter. The girl squad leader Ms. Hawk asserts her leadership. The supervisor demands to guide them to the monster's location. She then orders to move immediately, laughing animatedly. The protagonist decides to leave the game with his companion. He says he's going to come back after the break to join the others on the starting area. The hero finds out if the old man guide can join them, and the man replies that he hasn't been outside for a long time because of the monster. The old man admits he just wants to drink and have fun. Doro notices his futility. The hero wonders what the old man is carrying in his bag, and he shows the find. It turns out to be the rare ore diamondium, which he intends to sell in the square. The old man offers to let the hero take all the proceeds of the deal. The man is surprised, and the old man explains that it is a thank you for saving him. The hero agrees, and then bids farewell to the others by pressing the quit button. He is escorted away with grateful words and wishes. The hero disappears in a golden glow. The hero says goodbye, is told to come back soon, smiles, and promises to see you later. The system notifies that the player is out of the game. He ends up in bed with a smile. The hero takes off the headset in his room in surprise, the surroundings a mess. He looks wistfully at the headset and remembers that every time he returns to reality, he faces its harshness. Sitting on the bed, the hero feels hungry. His gaze falls on the rice cooker and noodles. He starts to eat, and at the same time the news is playing on the phone about the events in the game Chrono Life. The news is talking about a rare material that has become difficult to obtain, and the hero, watching the video, notes the high interest in the subject. It is revealed that it is about the mineral diamondia. The hero is surprised to hear this. Video news reports that diamondium hasn't been on the market for a month, and because of the Great Merchant Riot, the price has increased tenfold. The hero realizes that this diamondium is exactly the ore the old man was going to sell. He realizes that the price of diamondium is very high right now and is intrigued by it. He then learns that the current price of diamondium is 100 million won per kilogram, which leaves him shocked. The hero is overwhelmed with utter amazement, confused and shocked by what he hears. The hero recalls the large amount of diamondium they have and repeats the amount, 100 million. There's someone in town worried about someone being late. His interlocutor offers to calm down and drink tea, noticing that the others are moving as a group. The white-haired man doubts whether the hero will come, but they reassure him, assuring him that he will definitely appear. The green-haired man explains that the hero hates losing more than death. He's number one among all the dorks. He comments derisively on the situation. Another character rebukes him for his lack of sophistication. Inside the virtual world, the hero's connection to another world is being prepared. This man appears to us in all gold. The system notes that this is the first-ranked participant. Its colorful avatar appears. The appearance of the first-ranked player is accompanied by a flash. The hero returns to the world in spectacular fashion and is greeted by lightning and energy. The house where they are waiting for him reappears in the frame. Someone has been waiting for him for a long time. The owner of the house says that it has been a long time, addressing the returnee. The host greets the hero, calling him a level 10 warrior. The hero takes a seat at the table and is addressed by the name Heart Heater. The red-haired hero says with a wide grin that he heard he died in a battle with a zombie dragon. He regrets not being able to deal with this adversary himself. He is presented as the number one hero. He is being discussed as the man who defeated the zombie dragon. Noticing that the hero has occupied the Nelwyn mine, the interlocutor asks him to listen. The red-haired man replies that he's listening and wonders what's next. He asks if he should eliminate the new mine owner. While sipping tea, the hero suddenly gets burned and starts screaming in pain. His interlocutor hands him a new order, tossing a document on the table. The paper informs, you need to find the one who intercepted the Nelwyn mine. It is also specified that this assignment is related to the dark highland region. The red-haired man looks at the picture of the person he needs to find, waiting for the instruction to continue. In the mine, workers continue to extract diamondium while Leech watches the process. The workers notice the hero's teleportation and discuss his imminent return. The hero resolutely adjusts himself and announces his return to the main square. He is greeted by two people, an old man and a jolly man in a suit. The old man says he was going to sleep. Jisok is surprised at the unusual costume the man wears to sleep. He asks if Diamondius is okay and gets an affirmative answer from the old man. The hero urges everyone to hurry, promising not to wait for latecomers. Doro asks why the rush. Lich appears at the mine entrance. Jisok asks if he can handle the guards and declares himself ready. The hero confirms that this is a strategically important facility and needs a smart and strong character to guard it. Lich is happy to hear such words. The knight wonders if the price of diamondium has risen much. The hero responds with excitement. Leech explains that this ore is close to his home. Jisok replies that he would like to ensure his safe transportation. Knight agrees that safety is important and thinks about sturdy transportation. And then they notice a mechanical crocodile. A mechanical crocodile with a fierce look quickly rushes forward and the command to fight sounds, "Go!" Meanwhile, Jisok calmly reasons that there's no point in worrying because you can just detach the robot's head again, which surprises his interlocutor. He notes that the movement is much faster now with the wheels and asks about impressions from Granturis, who only sadly demands his body back. Someone deftly makes a gesture with their fingers, signaling. In the air, an arrow hurtling towards the target. The arrow hits the mechanical crocodile with a powerful impact, causing shock to everyone around. Jisoo cries out in fright, realizing that something unexpected is happening. A woman with a bow rises from the bastion, laughing triumphantly to all assembled. This same woman says with a smug smile that she caught her target. She emphasizes that they were surrounded in an open area, hinting at a trap. Ms. Hawk announces the start of the battle, preparing for battle. With confidence on her face, she orders a full assault to begin. A signal bursts in the sky, a bright flash heralding the beginning of the attack. One of the warriors notices that this is the signal and says enthusiastically that something exciting lies ahead. The commander of the knights encourages allies to show that their alliance is stronger than the original. Information appears. This warrior is a master of the Divine Guild, a branch in another world. A character with a scar on his face finds the monster amusing and declares that he wants to take his eyes for himself. As it turned out, it was Master Suyin from the Cross Guild of another world. In the sky, an air squadron of witches is on the offensive, discussing defenses against enemies from above. The leader of the witches grumbles about having to do extra work because of this. It was Master Bibbidi Babbidi Boo from Holy Land Guild. An elder appears on the ground, a Walbinden guildmaster in another world, Master Gion. The woman with the blue bow commands all troops to take and hold positions. To a loud battle cry, she rushes into the attack, carrying the soldiers with her. It appears to be the Master Miss Hawk of Justice Guild. All the armies of the World Guild Alliance converge on the battlefield, and a mechanical crocodile advances in front, a command to attack. The protagonist wonders who these people are by looking at what is happening outside the window. He guesses the surprise attack and immediately gives the order to fire the Mecha beam. The mechanical dinosaur releases a huge energy charge. Ms. Hawk anticipates the blow and gives the command to activate Plan A. The beam strikes many enemies, causing screams of fear and sparks to fly. The hero notices that the enemies manage to dodge the attack despite the damage to the mechanical monster. Alliance allies are commanded to stay down before attacking and join forces to attack. One of the villains analyzes that not all the information was wrong, swearing at a certain Joachim. A fierce golden warrior screams, calling the hero a monster and calling for revenge. He rushes forward with great force, declaring his vengeance. The warrior is confident that even such a strong opponent will not be able to withstand the advancing forces. The protagonist tries to resist the pressure of the magical attack, fighting with his last strength. Jisoo kicks out the window of his crocodile, and thus sends Joachim flying. The crowd of warriors discuss in amazement that the user in front of them is a user, and not some monster. The protagonist in a rage calls his opponents thieves. He decisively delivers a powerful kick with his foot, not intending to give up, and mentally recalls Diamondia. He swore that he would not give up the diamond resource, the huge leg of the mechanism descending on the battlefield. The hero follows up with a crushing blow, shouting the name of the hold, Jet Kick! As a result, the enemies are thrown back by the devastating attack and begin to scream in pain. The allies are confused as they discuss the hero's strange behavior and don't understand the Diamondia in question. Some wonder why it even matters. The situation becomes even more absurd. Master Kyung explains that there has already been an exchange of blows between the parties. He adds that no special reason is required for this battle. The two warriors realize with alarm that what is happening is real. One of them exclaims, "It's true!" Ms. Hawk states that the other has already become their enemy, and this causes tension among those around them. By and large, no one understood anyone, and now they have to feud. One of the mages launches a spell, calling for the enemy to prepare to attack. A team of warriors and mages rush into battle together, encountering an armored enemy vehicle. The guy opens his eyes wide with surprise, about to use the first sword-style technique. Next, they show a scene of caving, powerful blows and destruction, where many characters are literally swept away by the force of the attack. A mysterious warrior in golden armor with fiery red hair appears on the battlefield, using his special attack, Moonburst. The new hero smiles, and the other characters react with surprise at his appearance. The golden warrior asks the guy with the shovel with interest if he is now running the mine. Jisoo replies, "So what?" To which the warrior says it's all for the sake of a valued customer. Finally, a golden warrior with a wide smile offers the guy with the shovel a safe escort.